Hello, and welcome to another video. I'm Lorelle, and in this video we're going to talk about attachment styles in relationships and how you can heal your attachment style. When it comes to relationships, we either have a very amazing relationships that brings us a lot of happiness, peace, and joy, or we have an extremely miserable relationships where we feel constantly just stressed, tension, and arguments. A lot of the incompatibility in relationships comes down to the attachment styles and the not matching of the attachment styles. So it is really important that we look at the attachment styles in order for you to choose the right partner or to leave the partner that you're currently with that is causing you a lot of tension and distress. Relationships are the main factor of our lives. We thrive on relationships. And when you have a relationship that is not working, it's affecting your mental, your emotional, and even your physical health. Because all of your thoughts are occupied with that person and them not doing the same thing, you not having the same interests, or them not needing as much closeness as you do, or them wanting too much closeness. This is all causing a lot of stress in your system, and this affects all areas of your life, such as your career, your friendships, your health and fitness. If you feel distress in your relationships, you're not able to thrive. On the other hand, if you're able to choose the right partner for yourself, if you're able to find someone with the matching attachment style, you can create a loving and fulfilling relationships where both of you contribute to your own health, mental, emotional, spiritual, physical health. And if you have a very, very satisfying relationship with your partner or multiple relationships, you tend to succeed in your career, you tend to succeed with your friendships, you have better health and fitness. So before we cover the individual attachment styles, we have to first cover some basic things that are really important for you to know. First and foremost, dependency is not wrong. There is actually no such thing as independence. We are a human species and we are surviving on connection. Even if you wanted to be completely independent, you wouldn't survive. You are dependent on the farmer that is harvesting your food. You're dependent on the cashier to check out your food. You're dependent on the person who is helping you to build your house. You are dependent on, even if you grow all of your own fruits and vegetables, you're dependent on the person who gave you that seed in order for you to grow that. So even if you wanted to, you are dependent on other people. Dependency is a fact. It is not a choice. As soon as you are in a relationship with a person, you have dependency. So if you want independence, you go and find a partner, be dependent on them, and you go down the road of independence together. But you can't be independent. Dependency is only so triggering for certain people because they experience a lot of trauma when it came to the dependency in their early childhood. They realize that being dependent on another person is causing them a lot of emotional suffering or even physical harm. So they have a total trigger around dependency. But this doesn't mean that dependency is wrong. It's just that you experience a dependency that is unhealthy. Because when two people form a relationship, when two people come together, it is biologically proven that they regulate each other's emotion, they regulate each other's health and all of that stuff. There are experiments done where it shows that even if just the partner is present and is just touching you, a person that you love is just touching you, your emotions calm down immediately. When it comes to neediness in relationships, people are only as needy as their unmet needs. Think about it. That's actually what neediness is. You have a need, but nobody's fulfilling it. Nobody's meeting it. So you still need it, and that's why you're needy. But there's so much bad talking about neediness, and you should not be needy, while neediness is actually a natural mechanism that we have in order to bond with another person, to get our needs met. Because the truth is, you cannot fulfill all of your own needs. There are needs that can only be met by certain people. And yes, it is right that you cannot place all of your needs onto one person, and you can find other people to meet your needs, but there are some needs you maybe really need from a partner. So having a partner who actually fulfills your needs brings you a lot of emotional well-being, physical well-being. And if the relationship is mutual and you both agree on fulfilling your needs, there is nothing wrong with being needy. You're only as needy as the person who is not willing to meet your needs. But it's not that your needs are wrong, it's just that you have the wrong person who's not willing to fulfill your needs. So it's just incompatible. Now let's go into covering the 3 basic attachment styles. And they're actually coming from a book I link in the description box below. It's called Attached, and I really recommend you grab a copy of it because just learning about these attachment styles is highly beneficial. First attachment style we're going to look at is the avoidant attachment style. It's the attachment style that needs a lot of independence. They want to be self-sufficient and they want to have their autonomy. So when in a relationship, they want to do a lot of things by themselves. They want to go out, have their own friends, and they don't want too much closeness. When you're in a relationship with an avoidant attachment style, there is always going to be a certain distance. They will never let you truly into their emotions. They will never let you truly feel them and get to know them and experience them. There's always a certain kind of distance. Avoidant attachment styles are highly triggered when they sense any signs of control. So when they're with the person who they feel just the slightest sense that they might control them, they're triggered and they're out. As I was saying, these attachment styles go back to early infancy. So you have them already developed when you're an infant. And in the book that I mentioned, they explain a study that was done where they placed children in a room and the mommy left the room, and when the mommy came back they observed the behavior of the child. When it comes to the avoidant attachment style, I'm going to read you just a little bit what happened when the mom came back and the child had an avoidant attachment style. So, when mommy leaves the room, this baby acts as though nothing has happened. Upon her return, she remains unmoved, ignores her mom, and continues to play indifferently. But this facade doesn't tell the whole story. In fact, inside, baby is neither calm nor collected. Researchers have found that these babies' heart rates are usually just as elevated as other babies who express immense distress in their control. Their cortisol levels and stress hormones are high. So, the mommy left the room, and then the mommy came back, and the baby acts as though nothing happened. They act as though they are not affected by the leaving of the mommy. But when you look at the heart rate and all of the hormones that are in place, you see that the baby has the same symptoms of distress as the other babies of the other attachment styles. So they're just covering it up and acting as though nothing happened. So when you're with an avoidant attachment style, or you are an avoidant attachment style, they do feel these emotions, but they're covering it up because they're repressing them themselves. So their mechanism of attachment is suppression. Let's look into the anxious attachment style. The anxious attachment style needs a lot of closeness in the relationship. They love to be very close and they have a capacity for great intimacy. The problem is that that a lot of their emotional energy has been taken up by the relationships itself. So they think a lot about the relationships, they feel a lot of different emotions, and they show a lot of signs of distress. They are highly attuned to their partner and any mood shift that is happening in their partner, and they tend to take it personal. They are in constant threat of the partner leaving them, of the partner not loving them anymore, or the partner not wanting the same as they want. They have a lot of negative emotions in the relationship and they are easily upset. Signs of triggers for insecure attachments are any forms of distancing or any lack of reassurance. So, insecure attachment styles need a lot of reassurance of their love, of their connection in order to feel safe. When we go back to the same experiment that I explained with the avoidant attachment style, where the mommy left the room and the baby was in the room and then the mommy came back, I'm going to read to you what happened to the baby that has an anxious attachment style. This baby becomes extremely distressed when mommy leaves the room. When her mother returns, she acts ambivalently. She's happy to see her but angry at the same time. She takes longer to calm down, and even when she does, it is only temporarily. A few seconds later, she will angrily push mommy away, wriggle down, and burst into tears again. So these babies tend to be in a roller coaster. They're like, I have mommy back, but I somehow I'm really angry that you left. And now you can apply this to anxious attachment styles. Whenever the partner is not giving them the reassurance and love that they need, they tend to develop protest behaviors. They tend to distance themselves or create some sort of situation where the partner has to prove the love to them. And when you look at it, when these anxious attachment styles are actually with an avoidant attachment style, this is not going to work out. Lastly, we're going to look at the secure attachment style. They are very loving and warm. They feel very secure in a relationship, and they are fine with a great deal of intimacy or not a lot. They are not overly worried. They are not easily upset. They are effective communicators, and they sense their partner's emotions. They sense to know what is going on with their partner, but they don't take it personal. They share their successes and their problems with each other, with their partner, and they are there for their partner whenever they go through something. And again, going back to the experience with the baby, the secure attachment style, I'm going to read to you what happens when the mommy comes back with a secure attachment style. The secure baby is visibly distressed when mommy leaves the room. When the mother returns, he is very happy and eager to greet her. Once in the safety of her presence, he is quickly to be reassured, calm down, and resume playing again. So they're sad when their mommy leaves, and when they come back, they easily calm down. They don't have any kind of protest behavior or don't have ups and downs. They're just like, okay, mommy's back, I can go back to playing again. Hopefully by now you know your attachment style. If you're an anxious attachment style, the worst thing you can do is to be with an avoidant attachment style, because they're constantly recreating this wound of distancing, coming back, and this creates a lot of pain and distress in your being, because you're never calm and settled, and you are always in stress. When it comes to the avoidant attachment style, they're actually more like, it's not nice for you to be with an insecure attachment style, because you feel like you need a lot of distance and your space, and sometimes being with an insecure attachment style can feel like having a baby or having a child. So this is not good at all. The problem is with the dating market is that it tends to be that the dating market is more filled with avoidant attachment people, because they are single longer, because they don't commit. Their simple attachment style is, I don't want to commit, I want my independence, so they are single longer. And the insecure attachment style are kind of trauma bonding with avoidant attachment styles easily, because they're re-inflicting these wounds of somebody leaving, somebody coming back, and it's like an addiction. It's like back and forth, I get love, I don't get love, and it's an addiction, and it's unpredictable. So best for both attachment styles is to go and look for a secure attachment style. And there are easy signs of how you can discern between what attachment style you have. Basically, you're just going to look into the behavior and see what is it causing. When you have a secure attachment style, they're going to message you, they're going to phone you whenever something is going on, they want to talk about the conflict, they're emotionally available, and they are fine with whatever the relationship turns into. So it's best for these two attachment styles to find a secure attachment style. We're now going to talk about the healing aspect of attachment styles. So if you're an insecure attachment style, we're going to talk about how you can heal the insecure attachment style. And if you're avoidant, we're going to talk about how to heal the avoidant attachment style. Basically, there are 5 stages to healing an attachment style. The first one is defining, the second one is filtering, the third one is observing, communicating, and healing. These are the 5 steps, and we're going to look into all of these 5 steps for each attachment style. First, the insecure attachment style, and the first step, defining. It is really, really important that you sit down and you journal and define what you need in a relationship. How much closeness do you need? Do you need daily contact? Do you need daily phone calls? How much do you actually need from another person? And you also really, really need to define your no-goes. What is something you can't deal with? What is a no-go that would cause you so much emotional distress that is harming you and that is like affecting other areas of your life, and you will lose your peace and happiness. So it's really important to first sit down and journal about your needs and wants and also your no-goes. The second step is to filter. Whenever you're dating, it is really important to have the list that you just defined in step 1 and to filter people out. As an insecure attachment style, you have to be willing to leave. It is super important. You have to be more willing to be by yourself than to be with someone who's causing you distress. This can mean that you will be single for longer, but you will have to really filter out a partner that is good for you. So you're going to look into the list and find early signs of their behavior. And a very good question you can ask yourself is whenever you see a negative trait of a person, you're going to ask yourself, if I go down the road with this person and if we are both emotionally invested, and I imagine that this flaw or this behavior gets 100 times worse, how will this affect my peace and happiness? And then you have to see if it actually down the road will be good for you. And most likely, if there is a flaw, it won't be good for you. And here's the thing. People are not flawless. Everyone has flaws. But you have to find a compatible partner where their flaws are actually fine for you and you can deal with their flaws and they are not harming you or causing you a lot of stress. That's why be brave here, filter, say no to people, and rather stay alone than be in a relationship that is causing you a lot of harm. And you have to filter early on. See the signs, go with your list, and say goodbye to people. The third step is observe. Especially if you're an insecure attachment style, it's highly, highly important that you observe your emotional reactions, that you become aware of emotion. Dating is such an emotionally charged experience for us because we experience so many ups and downs. That's why it's more important to become aware of these emotions that you feel. And the best thing for that is to develop a meditation practice. So you're going to start meditating every day for at least 10 minutes. And you're just going to learn to observe whatever's going on in your body. In situations where you feel triggered by the person that you're dating or even your partner, try to bring all of your focus and attention into what you feel, into your body, and observe your emotions. As an insecure attachment style, you tend to develop huge amounts of stress whenever something is happening and you're threatened. And in these situations, it's really important to not act, to relax, observe how you feel, and let the waves settle a little bit. And then you're going to analyze what happened. So you ask yourself, what happened? And then, what am I making this mean? So you really see what happened in the situation, then you ask yourself what you're making this mean about you or about the relationship. It is really important that you become very clear of your thoughts and of the processes that are happening in your mind in order for you to heal this attachment style. The fourth step is to communicate. Communicate what you discovered in the step before, and communicate it in a calm and loving manner with your partner. But don't communicate while you are in this drama, while you're in this stress. Rather relax first, take your notes, and then communicate it. It is especially important to communicate with the partner or the person that you're dating the meaning you're assigned to certain things, so they can either say, yes, this meaning is correct, or they say no. And if they don't give you an answer or a not clear answer, leave. Just leave. That's all you need to know. And that's also a good filtering process and filtering steps, to just leave whenever someone is not certain or not clear in their communication. Just leave. And the fifth step, it's probably the most important step, is to heal. You have to heal your childhood wounds. You have to heal your childhood traumas that are feeding into this anxious attachment style. This is really, really important because you cannot just cope with your attachment style. You really have to do the work inside of yourself and heal these aspects. And there it is really important that you don't do any kind of therapy that involves writing or just more thinking or coping with these issues, but that is more of a deep therapy that goes into these wounds and heals these wounds at the core. Be really compassionate and loving with yourself here. You're trying to change and heal a deep pattern that came from you when you were an infant. So don't expect to climb mountains now. Heal at a time. Use dating and relationships as a form of healing and as your mirror and as a practice. So it is okay to fail, and it is okay to be needy and to feel insecure. There's nothing wrong with it. Attachment is the basic mechanism that we humans bond with, and it actually ensures our survival. Back in the days, we needed other people. We needed to attach to other people in order to survive. Everyone who was on their own was like dying because they didn't get food, they couldn't hunt on their own, they needed other people. So have compassion for yourself. Let's go into healing the avoidant attachment style. The first step is again defining. For you as well, it is highly important that you define what you need, how much closeness you want, how much independence you need, and be very specific about it. How much time do you want to spend with your partner? Do you want to actually marry or move in at some point after like 10 years, or are you quick about it, or do you don't want this at all? There are a lot of avoidant people who don't want any sort of commitment, but you have to be very clear of that, and you have to be able to define that for yourself and be specific to then communicate this. Also have your no-goes, have your boundaries of when it's too much closeness, have your boundaries of when it's too fast, when things are too pushy, when another person is too emotional. You really have to have these boundaries in place. The second step is to filter. And here it is really important as an avoidant attachment style to communicate these boundaries early on. Especially if you sense that you have an anxious attachment style that you are dating, it is really important to communicate how much closeness you actually want, how much closeness you need. And don't play games with the people. It just hurts them in the long run, and it will hurt you in the long run as well, because you walk into the danger of having a highly triggered anxious attachment style. So really communicate these boundaries. Talk to your potential mate of how much independence you actually need, and allow yourself to go and get it. The third step is to observe. Also for you as an avoidant attachment style, it is highly important that you observe your fear of intimacy especially. Observe the emotions when you feel that your partner is too close. Observe how you are uncomfortable with someone who's opening up to you. Observe how it feels like that you're threatened when you're too close. You really have to observe these fight or flight mechanisms that you feel like sometimes running away, and really notice this. Also, same with the anxious attachment style, you have to notice situations that trigger you and then also let it calm down and find the meaning of these situations. For example, if your dating mate is talking about their friends getting married and you get triggered because it's like, oh my gosh, this person wants me to marry them and wants me to commit, and I'm scared, and you want to run away and you're not dating them anymore. Come down. This is your fight or flight mechanism in place. Relax. Let these emotions settle, and then ask yourself, what am I making this mean? What am I making this mean when this woman is or this man is talking about getting married and all of that, and I feel anxious? And then communicate it with the person. This is really important. So as an avoidant attachment style, try to open up. Try to express and first feel your emotions a little bit. Repression of your emotions is not healthy. Emotions still operate even though you repress them. So it's really important that you start to go inside and actually allow yourself to feel emotions and then to express it to another person. I know this is super scary for you, and I know you probably don't want to do this, but really try to stay in that discomfort and try to be in that, and then push yourself a little bit, but be gentle and loving to yourself. And this goes directly into the fourth step, which is communicate. Communicate the feelings that you try to repress. Communicate your fears. Communicate your insecurities. communicate what you feel is threatened, and have compassion for yourself, and see if the other person has compassion for you. A lot of the misunderstandings of insecure and avoidant attachment styles boil down to them not actually communicating. The avoidant attachment style doesn't want to communicate at all about their feelings, but this is what would actually help the insecure attachment style when you are direct and say, I need space right now. Give me 10 minutes, give me a day, I need to do that. So you have to be very clear of the boundaries that you set, and you have to communicate them. Don't distance yourself as a protest behavior. Don't distance yourself without saying anything, because this can really, really hurt the other person. Communicate the distancing and be honest and open about it. And the fifth step for the avoidant attachment style is also to heal. You have to go back into your memories and into your emotions of what is actually triggering this avoidant attachment style, and when being attached was actually something bad and something unwanted happened to you. We experience a lot of trauma in our childhood that feed into these attachment styles, and we tell ourselves to never experience this again, and that's why we tend to get more avoidant and more avoidant and more avoidant. But there's a lot of beauty in a very, very close and loving relationship, even if it makes you feel uncomfortable. But if you're able to heal these wounds that are feeding into your avoidant attachment style, you have a potential of creating a very beautiful relationship where even somebody is willing to be independent with you, because you are missing out on a lot of beauty when it comes to relationships if you are constantly avoiding intimacy. Because we humans are wired for deep connection, for experiencing oneness together. And this is really beautiful. I'm going to link an article I wrote on spiritual love in the description box below. I highly encourage you to read it because it talks about a different approach to love and relationships. Maybe this helps you to get a different outlook on love. So yeah, I really hope this video helps. I don't really need to cover healing the secure attachment style, even though you are triggered as well sometimes, so you can do healing work on certain triggers. But just be mindful of compatibility in relationships. Be mindful to choose the right partner, and don't get discouraged. It may take a bit longer, but you're learning, and one day you will find someone. So make sure to like this video so it can reach more people, subscribe to this channel, share it with a friend, and I really hope to see you in the next video.